Hello everybody, this is Gabriel. This is the top-down analysis here in the Forex market for the month of July. The markets have been a little bit choppy the last couple of weeks and months. So let's start here with the euro dollar on the monthly chart. So we're looking at basically here at the monthly and the weekly. And as you might remember here, so this is a huge S1 pattern, and we're waiting for a re-break of the line. If this happens, well, then we will actually see how the dollar loses a value. These are great stop run levels, and if price goes up against the euro versus the dollar, well, if price goes up, that means that the dollar is going to lose value quite a bit, and this might have a huge impact on other asset classes like precious metals, for example. So we can see how price is struggling to re-break, right? So we came very close here. So now we have pulled back to the 21. So now there's another pullback to the 21, and we can put things into perspective, looking at one time frame higher, so lower. So that's the weekly chart, and we can see here how these are horizontal consolidations. Well, these are S1 patterns, and we see well, there was a re-break of the line. It didn't get there, right? Price shied away. There's a pullback. Well, back to the 21. So the bulls need actually a little bit more time, right? A longer refresher to draw in energy in order to be able to break this line. So this is how this looks like currently. So that's a long-term change in trend from the euro dollar down to the euro dollar up for the next 10 to 15 years, which was my big picture change. Now let's have a look at some other pairs. So the euro pairs are quite interesting, right? Because we see some changes here coming up. So the euro pound, for example. So the euro pound looked quite bullish, but there's a lot of bearishness coming into the chart, and I'm actually believing that this is a topping formation. We've seen this big rejection bar. Well, that's a corona spike. And that has marked turnarounds in trends in many charts, and I think we've got a turnaround here. So if this is a topping formation, well, then the pound should get stronger. So with pound strength against the euro, we might actually see, once this topping formation is complete, that prices start to run to the downside. And now let's have a look at euro against the yen. So here the yen is pretty weak too, right? The euro still shows a strength. Well, we've seen this break of the 200 moving average. I thought there would be a rejection of the 200, because that's quite resistance if the 200 is horizontal, but price just broke through, and now it's testing from above. And we've got another monthly bar that holds above the 200. So it looks like that we see quite a bit of a yen weakness ahead. Now let's have a look at the euro against the strong pair, the Swiss franc. So that's clearly in a downtrend, and so the euro, it's kind of in the middle, right? So some pairs are stronger than the euro, and some pairs are weaker. So this is one Swiss franc that is clearly stronger. So once price has come back to the old peg level of the euro versus the Swiss at 120, it actually came here like to the pip, right? And now it's falling down. It has met resistance here on the overall way down, and there's a pullback. It's an extended pullback, right? It nicely tests the 21, and now it's already rolling over. Like price goes back below the 21, and we should actually see new lows here. So Swiss strength and euro weakness. Now let's have a look at the CAD. So the CAD is showing some strength too here. So we're clearly in like rolling over. We've seen this strong bear bar. So that's always a sign that might be a change in trend. And we've seen a big bar, and then we've seen a pullback, like just testing the 21. Well, this pullback is this pullback basically on the weekly. So it's a nice test of the 21. Now we're going basically sideways, and we should actually see a drop here in price. Well, a drop in price means CAD strength, and there are really nice stop run levels here. Well, we can take this out because the pullback has occurred, so we can actually we might actually see a nice stop run move. These are stop run levels, so we might get surprised of the strength of the Canadian dollar. Now let's have a look at the Australian dollar. Again here, that was a very excitable event, the corona spike, and that has basically led to a change in trend, right? So here as well, the Australian dollar, it was very weak for many years, and now it has become strong as well against the US dollar. And we actually should see here a continuation. Again here on the weekly, it has broken the 200, a retest from below. Now it's able to stay below the 200. So that shows the strength of the bears. And it's basically price is squeezed in between the 200. So 200 is squeezing from above, and the 200 here on the monthly, well, it's resistance on below. So price is squeezed between these 200 EMAs, and once it gets resolved, and that's typically in trend direction, well, then we'll see further follow through and momentum coming up. Let's have a look at the Australian dollar, US dollar. Again here, excitable event, the corona spike. And since then, the Australian dollar has been really strong. And we should actually see further strength coming up. So the US dollar we already see it here. Looking at some of those cross pairs, is a weak currency. And it should actually get weaker and weaker if this important level on the euro dollar gets broken. Let's have a look at some more US versus the Swiss franc. Here as well, the dollar seems weak, right? We are here kind of in a consolidation on the weekly chart. And once this is resolved, once this is over, sometimes price needs some time to digest. There was a big move here, right, out of this consolidation. So sometimes price needs to digest, needs to come back to the 21, and then we should actually see a further drop here. So Swiss franc strength and dollar weakness. US yen. So the yen, we already saw that against the euro is particularly weak, right? Well, the dollar is weak too against the euro. And now we can see, okay, which one is actually weaker? Is it the dollar or is it the yen? And looking at that chart, well, we actually see that the yen should be considerably weaker over the years to come. Well, as you can see here, it's basically balanced, right? It's not doing much. Well, it's in a sideways consolidation. There have been several tries here to break lower. So breaking lower means yen strength. Well, this never happened. And we can see here the power of the 200. If it goes sideways, the 200 horizontal, it's a strong support and resistance level. And this has happened several times. And now actually, well, this is another S1 pattern, right? And well, there was a nice momentum move right here, dollar strength, and we should actually see once this gets resolved, or well, the S1 pattern has already triggered. All these above here are stop run levels, so we might actually be surprised by the dollar weakness, by the US dollar weakness, and then yen weakness that is even weaker, much weaker than the dollar. So it seems like something is going to happen with the yen. And this could be a very strong move here during this year or the years ahead. Let's have a look at the pound Swiss. So both are strong, right? Let's have a look. I wanted to have a look at that, but I'm not quite sure. Yeah, well, both are strong. It seems like the pound is even stronger than the Swissy. Well, that's again the corona spike, and we can see how since then how the pound has developed stronger. So the bulls have been able to close above the 20. The 21 is an important level of support and resistance. We've seen it here how it was with support, right, on the overall way down. Like price went there, tested the area, tested it, and then went lower. Well, currently we've seen how price has been able to stay above. So that's no longer a test. So price has been able to break above the 21, and even to break above the 200 horizontal on the weekly, staying above nicely. So now we've got a test of the 21 from above, right? So we might actually see here how the pound is another surprise during the years to come. It might actually even be stronger than the Swissy, the Swiss franc. Now let's have a look at two more pairs that are interesting. Yeah, the odd New Zealand. So the odd New Zealand, well, both currencies are typically correlated somehow, right? But there have been big moves too in the past. So currently we're in a sideways price action, and well, volatility is going down and down, right? So the price moves on both sides are getting shorter and shorter. And we can see even here during the last couple of months where we see a nice volatility contraction. So trading Forex is always nice if you come out of a volatility contraction and you trade a volatility expansion. And in this case, well, I don't know in which direction it's going to go, but we're going to see some move happening, right? Well, typically it's an overall trend direction, so would I actually prefer on the downside. But we've got nice stop line levels on the upside as well. So, well, we might see here some, yeah, we're breaking out of this sideways congestion of the Aussie versus the Kiwi. Now let's have the last pair to look at is Pound New Zealand. It's a very special. It's a special pair, and I quite like it. Here, this is well, it's basically it's a pattern within a pattern, one right after the other one, and that adds a lot of energy into the system. And we should actually see, because we are in a downtrend, and then we have a double pattern, double pressure, which we should actually see here as well as a price to the downside. But it takes a little bit of time, right? As we see here, we see another pullback to the flat, and we just need to be a little bit more patient, right, for this to trigger. But it's clearly, I'm clearly have a short bias here. Currently, it's testing the big number. The big number has been tested several times before, right, by a wick or by a bar. So that's a 2 with 4 zeros. So that's a very big number. It's testing it, and let's see if we roll over and starts to develop some momentum. If this starts to trigger, well, that might be the trade of yeah, for the next couple of years, because double pressure, charting situations with double pressure, well, they might go a long way. And I'm quite excited, yeah, stalking and seeing what's going to happen with the Pound New Zealand. So we might see, yeah, Kiwi strength ahead. Thank you.